While agility and flexibility remain the two buzzwords for the previous year, there is another word that was on top of everyone's mind: insurance. 2020 was indeed a year of unexpected events that alarmed a greater need for people to get themselves and their families protected. To delve deeper, I have with me Mr. Sanjeev Mantri, Executive Director and Chief Marketing Officer Retail at ICICI Lombard, talking on how the insurance sector has evolved in the past months and how changes in consumer behavior and new technological solutions are driving business realities. On that note, we welcome you, sir.
Hello, pleasure meeting you all.
So, sir, how is the new normal treating you both personally and professionally?
Interesting question. I think it's been strange times. When it came in the month of March, we had very little idea what actually it entailed. We've been used to curfews, Bombay Band, and all of that stuff. But this was something new in terms of enforced lockdown, and it's been done with all the authorities who are officially there to not let this happen actually supporting it. So it's been an intriguing time. Professionally, if I look at it, clearly Shomya industry has done pretty well. They have been, and there have been good reasons why it's done well. Probably we'll talk about that as we take this discussion forward. Personally, it's been strange. I have been far more involved in physical activities, which kind of got completely curtailed for almost first 3 months. From there on, things did get back to normal. And as we speak today, again, we're back to this level of curtailed activities where you can't step out and stuff like that. So in my opinion, we have come a full circle, but I think resilience at country level, at company level, at individual level, at family level, all of it has got tested in many manners. If you ask me, I feel we've been part of the blessed community who was able to live and do things normally. The worst complaint could have been that we've been confined to our respective houses, but there are so many others who have gone through so much challenges that you feel totally blessed to lead a life like this, irrespective of what the environment entails at this point of time. And clearly things can only get better from here, because now fortunately we have a solution on hand with vaccine being there. And last year when all this happened, we had no clue when the vaccine will come. So the biggest question mark which existed for at least 6-8 months of the previous year in terms of lockdown has got resolved. So it's up to us how we can ramp it up.
Very well said. Yes. And sir, you being a member of the senior leadership team in the company, how do you see the role of leadership transform or change to resolve the challenges that have emanated from this uncertain time?
Clearly, we all did get tested. I don't think someone would be really lying if he says nothing changed and it was business as usual. It was not. All the BCPs that used to put in place in terms of this goes wrong, we can do this, we can do that. When everything gets shut, how do you still operate? So it became a reasonably challenging environment for us. We did believe that this pandemic has been an eye-opener for many of us in terms of what technology can do. And we keep discussing in terms of if this pandemic would have happened maybe a decade back, how paralyzed our existence would have been. The fact that you and me are chatting on Zoom meeting wasn't a new normal, wasn't a normal, right? We couldn't have had such easy conversation the way we are doing it. So physical interactions got seamlessly transformed into digital interactions, and you had digital etiquettes coming into place. So many other things which kept building up. So to us, it all became harnessing the use of technology from developmental to adoption. And fortunately the environment also was very conducive to accept those to take those adoptions. It's not that we were not doing digitization previously, it's not that online meetings were not available, but the world wouldn't move to in that direction. Now all of that has seamlessly shifted. To me, this has been the biggest transformation, and probably in many ways it would stay for good. I don't think will become always digital in all walks of life. When things will get normalized, we would move to much more physical meeting the way it is, but the balance will come into play. From our organization time, from putting up our call center guys to make them work from home, to using and we deal with emergencies. Look, the sector that we deal with is typically the one where when our customers reaches out to us, they are facing one crisis or the other. The crisis could be their assets getting damaged, be it their personal car or home or so on and so forth, or their health getting impacted. for us to resume normal services was one of the most critical challenge, so that our customer is not left high and dry, and that is what it required almost 2-3 weeks of significant re-engineering to get it done.
True, true. So as you just mentioned that the focus has been shifted to health insecurity now, majorly. Would it be right to say that the health crisis has proved profitable for your business?
So, the saying goes, you should not let a crisis go waste. So, you have to do what is required to make the organization thrive, your own individual existence thrive, your family. So, you need to do your bit. I don't think I would like to read it in the manner of saying that it was profitable for us. If your question is probably, did health insurance, since the pandemic impacted so many people, so many individuals, families around us, did it actually lead to people buying a lot more health insurance? Clearly it was. I think from a period where from a period, I'll put it from April to June, July, you could see a lot more inquiries. You could think online searches really went up on health. But did it sustain? It did get tapered quite a bit. It maybe it's a lot to do with the fact that cases started going down and people also felt we're getting normalized. We all actually went into a notion where we thought things are looking up. After Diwali, people expected the second wave, which never came, and then here we are sitting again and facing one of the worst in first form of crisis for us. So we didn't profit from it by any stretch, but yes, we came up to the challenge in terms of morphing products, changing our working style, creating whatever was required to make it work for our customers. One mindset change which is evidently there is that health insurance, people used to think that it was an expense, something which they are spending, and there was a element of we're just giving money away, we'll never have a claim. That mindset has changed to now people saying investment. It's like an investment. You need to make sure that your family has proper medical insurance. And strange thing about this disease has been, it doesn't strike only you in the family. Previously some of those ailments which people used to have, it could have been only one or two. One person will get impacted and will get cured. Now it will impact whole of your family. It can take you down. It can cost you quite a bit. So this mindset change has been a bigger success, and it's more from the category perspective than a company perspective, we would say. So if people continue buying health insurance, it would be good. And the stats are very clear. If I have to just share with you in a minute, less than 4% of people in this country have their own health insurance cover, which is startling. Every year, almost 25 million families prior to pandemic used to go below poverty line because they didn't have a health cover. Almost 65 to 70% expenses out of pocket because people don't have insurance again. So these are startling facts. So we have a long way to go as a country, and maybe events like this would be an eye opener, which will make every one of us do their bit to propagate that this cover is a critical and a must-have.
True. And so how are you exploring the new trust equation in insurance? So whether adopting to the millennial mindset or, experience-led management, how are you going about it?
Clearly, I think where India stands in terms of the demogs, almost, 600 million, 60 crore of our individuals, would be in less than age of 25. So there's a huge demog benefit that we keep talking about. We know the internet penetration, the way the millennials are moving. I think they are fully digitized. I mean, if I look at my own family and my own kids, the way they interact digitally, they're so comfortable having only digital friends, and the loop is very short, the feedback loop is very quick. The good part is that you can do seamless transactions with them, come interact with them and close it out, and but contextual development of products for them, because so they have a kitty of expenses to be done, and in that we need to appeal in terms of whether we make sense for them as an industry or we don't make fuss. To be honest with you, Soumya, I think from a category perspective, on the millennials, if your question was in specific, the industry has been pretty average. We haven't done a great job in attracting those particular set of customers. So we all have created processes, we've all created digital routes, but have we segmented those customers? I was talking about the penetration of health and your previous question where I said the penetration below 4%. I mean, for some reason you want to go and think how many millennials buy this. I mean, I don't even want to calculate that because it's not going to lead to anything substantial. But the awareness will help them to probably become far more involved customers on the general insurance side. But all of them experience when they own their first vehicle, when they own their, when they own an asset, clearly they get an embedded insurance policy. But that comes in as a necessary aspect. So insurance, when you buy protection, I categorize into two parts: discretionary and non-discretionary. Non-discretionaries are the one which regulatory will come to you because you don't have a choice. Like motor insurance, you cannot ply your vehicle on the road if you don't have a valid cover. And when you purchase new, you are sold a policy which is embedded. But the ones which are discretionary, like health, it's discretionary. Insurance, it's discretionary. Cyber insurance, it's discretionary. You need to feel the need of it. How do you feel the need of it? One is fear. Currently, there's a fear on health, so people maybe are more driven toward this product, or you are actually experiencing a loss which will make us believe, "Arey, insurance hota to I would have been better off." So these are those aspects which needs to be worked on. I personally believe with the level of internet penetration and the loop which is emerging in terms of people fearing losses which have happened, there would be a lot more category development that the industry will do now.
So we're all well aware that digital has accelerated in the past year and especially during the pandemic. So was distribution to sell digitally a challenge for you, and what kind of digital investments did you make?
Yes, no, it was not a challenge. I think as a company, we've been front runners with all humbleness, I can say. We've been selling policies digitally since 2005. No one in the country was selling anything digitally. We were selling it. So we had the benefit of investing in this far ahead of time, and it's been a continuous process for us. Almost 97.5% of our policies are issued digitally. Not even a paper travels to our offices. So all of these aspects will say that on the macro level, we've been very, very involved. But what's required from that standpoint, what you're saying in current times is that we need to have a multi-channel distribution. See, we need to align ourselves with what the customer wants. We don't want a situation where we are imposing our process. We will facilitate this digitally, but we need to be present in whichever manner. If the customer wants to instruct in a phygital manner, where there's a bit of a digitization involved, there's a bit of a physical meeting involved, we are more than comfortable getting that done. Leading to that is the fact that there should be a customer-centric approach. For us, in many ways, whatever we do, see, ironically, in insurance as a sector, our direct reach to customer is actually always funneled through a layer of channel partners. They could be brokers, they could be agents, they could be bank insurance partners. So there is this multiple load of people. So our direct connect to the customers is probably there for online sector only, and some bit through telecalling. Otherwise, most of them are done through partners. So there, our ability to distill and create products which are aligned becomes very important, and that's what we've been emphasizing on. Clearly, we have used this pandemic where a lot of our innovation is there. I give an example like InstaSpect. Prior to the pandemic, InstaSpect is an instrument through which customers could digitally, or the partners could digitally do the survey of the car and will approve the losses. The adoption was 25%. It's almost doubling now in terms of the claim. And we are among the largest player as far as the own damage thing is concerned on the private car side. In two-wheelers, we do 1 out of 4 two-wheelers insured by ICICI Lombard. So this has kind of helped us in a very big way. We've also got use of AI tools to approve our, the claims. Those approvals used to be in the maybe late 20s. It's gone to almost 60%. So artificial intelligence being used. Something which could have taken maybe for an approval few hours, because of use of AI and machine learning, we're able to approve those in few seconds, in minutes, and the approval is turned around and given to the customer. So that's another robocalling, another critical aspect. So what we have done is we have leveraged lots of these aspects to give solutions to our customers And what is the beauty about technology being, put to use is that it is something which gives you consistency. It does not differentiate between individuals. The service is flat to everybody. That is, I think, the biggest advantage you can have. One of the biggest thing which we also had launched was I'll Take Care app. It was a complete, end-to-end, you can say, app available to our customers. The adoption was low because of the pandemic and people wanting to reach out to us in a remote way. We have got almost 500,000 downloads on that, and people are using it. In that app, we have got facilities like teleassist. You can have medical calls being done remotely from the experts who could guide you in terms of what you need to do. We have a variety of visiting hospitals that could be used. We have seen almost thousands of calls being coming every month and people using those facilities, which was always there. But the adoption has gone manifold at this point of time. So these are the few aspects which has made us believe that the customer's requirement, whatever we had created, have got next level of usage, and this has also inspired us to keep improving our own investment in these particular categories.
Awesome. So I was also, just to add to this answer, I was also reading that you launched a voice bot service where you can instantly register motor insurance. So clearly technology has been core to your initiatives, no doubt in that. So moving to my next question, sir, what are the irreversible changes, whether in terms of consumer behavior or business realities, that have emanated from this crisis?
So irreversible changes, I think we will end up living a lot more low touch economy. I mean, one thing is there that even if this pandemic eventually gets settled out, it is not that the elimination will become a reality. We would continuously be under the threat where sporadically these cases will keep coming up. And I'm talking about maybe in summation, it can probably last few years before it completely becomes, dead and buried. So in that kind of a scenario, the life will change for all of us. And I think use of technology will become irreversible. There was a lot of categorization which was being done where, technology was used more often by the younger generation, the millennials, the Gen Z and all of those guys. And there was a lack of adoption in the older category. All of them have started really, using these aspects. So these are all irreversible. And once you see the convenience and the cost mitigation that comes when you use digitized processes, and so experiencing was the key. We used to labor it every now and then, let's do it this way, but there were conversations around it's very impersonal. You all don't want to focus on us. Why should we go and talk to a bot and all of that stuff? But this particular pandemic, I think, has made some of these aspects completely irreversible. But I feel there will be a far more balance that will come in as we progress as a community through this pandemic.
So, sir, my last question for today, which is quite a quirky one. I just made it up. Okay, so had you also handled the marketing arm of ICICI Lombard, all right? So, as a marketer, had you known of this pandemic 2 years, before it has actually hit us, what kind of strategies would you deploy for the brand, and if any tactics or prevention measures that you would have taken 2 years prior to the pandemic hitting everybody?
If I had known there's going to be a pandemic 2 years from now, what all I could have done?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting question. So I think first and foremost, we would have, more than doing anything else, would have worked to get the pandemic eliminated. I don't think as a community, as mankind, we deserve to go through what we have gone through. We are nearing almost, we've lost almost 170,000 of our citizens in this country, and globally the count is humongous. So we would have worked extra hard, maybe have a solution prior to this and got ourselves vaccinated in advance so that we are immune to any kind of a thing. So when a kid is born, there's a huge calendar that proceeds for next 5 years of the birth, where you keep giving him multiple vaccinations to ensure that he does not face what generations back, people used to face. We've eliminated probably polio in this country. We don't even get a single case because there was a humongous effort that was put in. My direction would have been more towards elimination. I could have also probably spoken about doing a lot more preparation on and making ourselves technologically ready, but that would not be fair. That any which way each one of us was doing, Soumya. So I don't see any reason why those aspects will not go through. Certain industries have got impacted quite dramatically. I mean, entertainment industry for that matter, and also the food and beverages. They've gone through tremendous challenges. So in my mind, if we could have avoided so much of a plain joblessness, loss of income, so my focus is more about eliminating it than more than anything else. It's not about insurance. It's not about how comfortable you and me are. It's about generally the level of suffering that people have gone through. It's unbelievable. You and me are not even aware of maybe a percentage of what's transpired on ground for many of them. And if that being the case, elimination would be the only focus and nothing else.
Right, and as you say, sir, this particular pandemic has not just been, a crisis on the economic part, but plus livelihood and health as well. So it's like three things being hampered at the same time. So I agree on that point that it has been more than, just hampering the economy. So on that note, sir, I think I must thank you for your time today, and it was really nice chatting with you. Thank you so much.